talking about coronavirus. We're talking about Herman Cain. We're talking about personal responsibility. I don't like it when people compare the coronavirus and masks to heart disease or car accidents. If somebody wants to eat ribs every day and McDonald's every day and wants to sit right next to me 24/7, it doesn't mean I'm going to die of heart disease, although I will admit it might lure me into getting a fish fillet and fries once in a while, but I'm not going to die. But if you are sitting next to me not wearing a mask, at least this is my argument, there's a better chance that you can give the virus to somebody else. That's just a scientific proven fact. But we've been talking about that, and let's see what you guys think out there. Let's go to Martin. Martin has been waiting very patiently on hold. Martin, what's going on?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hey, Brian. I love the work you're doing. Everybody appreciates it. It's good work.
Thank you, Martin.
I just want to say one thing. I am flabbergasted at the high percentage of people who don't understand the definition of exponential. If one person is asymptomatic and they give the coronavirus to two other people and they do the same thing and so on and so on, in 29 days, that's going to be over 500 million. If you take your calculator and you put in 1 times 2, do that 29 times, that is over 500 million. So be careful, people. Use your head and get your calculator out and try that little experiment.
I appreciate that, Martin, and thank you for the kind words. We appreciate you. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Why don't we go to Daniel? Daniel is next on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, Brian. How you doing today?
Good. What's on your mind?
Okay, if people don't use masks, they should go get a face shield. That'd probably be better also, correct?
Yeah, I mean, there are some people, right, that are using face shields. Some people that maybe because of health issues that they have,
And Fauci just recommended it, saying,
right.
Right.
Another question, Brian, I got to ask you. Early, you talked about you would have voted Joe Biden. You say because he's a favorite candidate, you think he's the good man. But you also, no, wait a minute, let me finish first.
Okay.
You say also you say you didn't like the defunding of the police.
Yes.
So if you take Joe Biden, you're going to take the fund of the police.
Okay, so you have misinformation, sir. So let me be very clear. Joe Biden does not want to defund the police. In fact, it is okay. No, it's not okay. You don't have factual information. Look it up. Actually, Joe Biden wants to add $300 million to the police department. He wants to put it in different parts of the police department. Joe Biden, let me be very clear for all of you Republicans out there that like to put out misinformation. Because you're no. Don't wait.
You don't have to call me Republican. I'm just independent. I'm just
independent. Okay, so let me be clear. For any American out there that watches the Donald Trump ads about how Joe Biden wants to defund the police, let me be very clear to you. If you don't believe me, look it up yourself. Listen, Joe Biden does not want to defund the police. Can I be more clear than that to you, Daniel?
Okay. Now, how about he wants to distract the police?
What do you mean distract? What are you talking about? What does that even mean?
Well, you're not listening to Joe Biden. You don't listen.
Well, then tell me, Daniel, how in your mind as an independent, how does Joe Biden want to distract the police? What the hell are you talking about?
Hey, Brian, what are you getting mad for?
Because you're being stupid. That's why. What do you mean distract? What is he Is Joe Biden pointing a laser beam into the eyes of police officers? Is that how he's distracting the police? Does he have a beautiful woman in front of some of these police officers? How's Joe Biden? Is he taking his clothes off? How is Joe Biden trying to distract the police? You know what? Don't even answer that question, Daniel. Have a nice day. You're distracting the Vegas Take. If I took my shirt off right now, I would distract Michelle. Trust me. It wouldn't be a good distraction.
Keep your clothes on.
Yeah, exactly. Michelle, that would be a very bad distraction. Trust me. 702-257-5396. I'm sorry, Sean. Who's next on the Vegas Day? Scott? Okay, thank you, Sean. Sean's doing a wonderful job, by the way, with the phone calls, as he does every day. Let's go to Scott. Scott is next on the Vegas Take. Scott, what's going on? I won't distract you, Scott. Go ahead.
Hey, how y'all doing?
I'm doing great. What's on your mind?
If I sound a little loud, it's because I'm on my Bluetooth. So
that's okay, sir.
I hear about everything you're saying with Herman Cain and everything, but the one point I want to point out, and nobody seems to be saying it about masks and everything, is Obama got up on a podium yesterday with no mask on, talked to a church full of people with the return air system inside that thing circulating anything and everything that everybody breathes out. Why isn't Obama being held responsible for not wearing a mask?
Okay, so I will respond to that. First of all, when you're up at a podium, just like Donald Trump is up at a podium, and there is nobody within 10 feet of you, which there wasn't in this case with Barack Obama, there is nothing wrong with that according to the CDC guidelines. Now, For the people out there that were sitting next to each other, right next to each other, not wearing masks, I have a problem with that. But you cannot criticize somebody at a podium, just like all the Republicans and all the Democrats that do interviews with the media when there's nobody next to them. There is nothing wrong with that according to the CDC guidelines.
Okay, I understand that, but what about him making a funeral a political statement?
Yeah.
He
Okay.
started adding politics up on a podium.
So here's the thing, okay? Barack Obama was very good friends with this man. And we're talking about what this man would have wanted. We're talking about divide in this country. Now, if you want to talk about injecting politics, would you agree that in every circumstance and in every situation, since you have a problem, sir, with Barack Obama injecting politics into a funeral, that's fine. Would you agree that Donald Trump does the same thing?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If Trump did it, it'd be all over the news. They'd be attacking him. But
Well,
Obama
you know what
does
I think
it,
should be in the
nothing.
news? I'll tell you what I think should be in the news. Not the fact that Barack Obama might have injected a little politics into the funeral, the fact that Donald Trump refused to go. How about, why don't we talk about that, sir? What do you think about the fact?
I'll admit, I think he was wrong about that.
All right. Well,
I'll
then you
admit
know
that.
what? Then I respect your opinion, sir, and I do appreciate the phone call. Thank you, Scott. I'm glad you were able to admit that because I think a lot of Trump supporters would not. 702-257-5396. Go to Joel. Joel, you are next on the Vegas Take. Joel, what's going on?
Good morning. 2 points, please. First of all, listening to the banter between the two of you only leads me to believe even stronger that the biggest issue is the lack of leadership from the top. If we had a president who believed what the CDC said back in March and April with regard to masks and with regard to social distancing, and had demanded that everybody in the country follow suit, we may not be in the position we find ourselves. We certainly wouldn't be arguing about it.
Michelle, would you agree? Hold on, Joel. I'll let you make your second point, but let's let Michelle respond to that. Go ahead, Michelle.
I don't actually agree, and this is why. I believe there's a huge problem in America right now when it comes to truth and transparency, and people are immensely distrustful. Did you know that recent surveys have shown that 60% of Americans do not believe the death numbers that are produced by the CDC? They think that there is confusion, that they are made up, that it's not at all accurate. There is a lack of trust, and to assume that people are just going to blindly trust the government. Oh, okay, so the government said it, so I'm going to spoon feed that, eat it, and believe it no matter what. That is a misnomer. The big problem that I think everyone is missing is that there's no one who trusts anything, and there's a huge lack of transparency.
I think that's fair. I'll also say, though, that even a Fox News poll said that over 60% of Americans do not approve of the way Donald Trump has handled this pandemic. So I think we need to throw him in there as well. Go ahead, Joel.
Okay, point number 2. Can you imagine what would have happened back during World War II if people had pushed back the way people are pushing back against wearing masks with regard to rationing gas or sugar or any of the other products that we all had to share in saving or reserving because we were under a wartime situation? Could you imagine people whining and complaining because they couldn't buy more than 1 pound of sugar a month, or because they couldn't put gas in their car more than once a month and then only 5 or 6 gallons?
That's a fair question. Let's let Michelle respond to that, Joel, and we appreciate the call. Go ahead, Michelle.
Fair question. Before all of our time, I don't think any of us were alive during World War II, so I'm sure there were people who complained about it. But again, there's a big difference between rationing sugar or rationing gas and whether you are being mandated by your government to wear something.
Fair enough. All right, 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Maria. Maria is next on the Vegas Take. Oh, we lost Maria. Let's go to Gary. Gary, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Good morning, Brian. I'm a Vietnam veteran. And
Thank you for your service, sir.
Thank you, sir. I kind of question your being a Republican when you don't support the Republican president.
Wait. You're saying you think I'm a Republican?
You say you're a Republican.
No, I don't.
You're
I've never said, sir, in my life, I have never said I'm a Republican. I am not a Republican.
I misunderstood your comment.
That's okay.
Earlier.
No, I am certainly not a Republican. I don't know what would make you think
I'm the Republican in the room.
She is a Republican. I'm an independent, sir.
Thank you for the Republican. Like I said, I'm a veteran, and I'm ashamed that people are afraid to say they're going to vote for Trump, because look what he's done for our economy. Look what he's done.
We just had the worst quarter. Okay, we just had the worst quarter as far as the economy goes in the history of this country. What are you talking about?
Caused by the Democrats.
What?
With all the malarkey that
Wait. Hold on a second. You're saying that the reason why I just want to make sure I understand. You're saying, Gary, a Republican, that the reason why we've just had the worst quarter as far as the economy goes in the history of this country is because of Democrats. Sir, is that your opinion on the Vegas take?
That is my opinion.
Okay,
definitely.
that is one of the most ridiculous things I have ever heard in my life, Gary. Would you like to explain to me how you think the Democrats are responsible, even though we have a Republican president, a pandemic, and over 150,000 people have died? Republicans are in power. Please explain to me how somehow in your mind, Democrats are the only ones at fault here. I'd love to hear your explanation.
Well, I wish I had time, but I'm working right now. And
how convenient. How convenient.
Yeah, I'll call you back,
Gary,
right?
yeah. Please don't. How convenient. Oh, my God, are people this... Oh, jeez. All right, I'm going to try to be nice, Michelle, out of respect to you. But
Okay.
That call was just unbelievable. That was a short bus phone call.
The economy, though, just so you know, did not tank due to partisanship. It didn't tank because of Trump. It didn't tank because of Democrats. It tanked because of a pandemic and our response collectively to it.
I agree with what you said, response, but last I checked, Donald Trump is in charge, and you could.
But he's not in charge of individual states. That's your governor.
He's not in charge of individual states, but he has been in charge of, I guess, showing leadership skills and taking the virus seriously, which what I believe for months he did not do, or at least didn't do well enough. And we can go a laundry list of things. Yeah, but I do agree to an extent of what you just said. Yes, it is because of the pandemic. Yes, I agree with you. And you're right. You said the word. Response. Clearly, top to bottom, we were not ready for this pandemic from top to bottom.
Well, you never are. Nobody has a calendar that says, gosh, this is the day the pandemic's going to hit.
The Trump administration didn't have a calendar, but they certainly had a memo from the Obama administration and a memo of what to do. And he also did hear from Navarro and other people in Trump's administration how serious this virus was. And while he did that, he was holding rallies, some right here in Nevada. So
sure, but as a journalist who's been covering illnesses throughout the 2000s, we were told that SARS was going to kill us, that bird flu was going to kill us, that swine flu was going to kill us. And we've always kind of underestimated these diseases. And back then, we didn't have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and different ways to get information nonstop. So we honestly have had situations that were just as bad. Swine flu, bird flu.
Yeah, but we've never seen anything like this.
They just didn't take as many lives.
Right. We've never seen anything like this. All right, so we got a lot of people on hold. Let's try to get to as many as possible. Please make your point quickly. Let's go to Bill. Bill is next on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Oh, hey, Michelle, I don't want to tell you how to do your job, but after a caller pisses Brian off and he hangs up on him, you're supposed to say good call.
Oh, okay. Sorry. All right. I didn't know that. Okay.
Remember that.
That's a good one,
Thank
Bill.
you for schooling me.
And as far as the economy goes, I can tell you that last year my 401k was over 25% return, and in 3 days in March, my wife and I lost $60,000.
I'm very sorry.
I'm so sorry.
I'm very sorry to hear that.
Well, I thank you, but I mean, it has nothing to do with the president. It has to do with a pandemic. You cannot be an expert and know how to handle something you've never.
Hold on a second. You don't think the president should bear any responsibility in how we respond to a pandemic?
Well, I think, let's be honest, he may not have responded perfectly, but a lot of his response was from things that Dr. Fauci told him to do.
So I'll give you a perfect example of what
Good point.
I'll give you a perfect example of what I think you're talking about. Right away, all the people around, I'm talking about in January and February. Yes, Dr. Fauci made some mistakes. There were some mistakes, particularly about the mask situation. But then Fauci changed his tune, so to speak. And there were a lot of people that said, no, Mr. President, these masks are very important. January, February, March, April, May. The president was not serious about mask wearing until recently, a few weeks ago, when he said, now it's patriotic. There's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. You're right. The response hasn't been great top to bottom, but the president has not adapted. I'll give you an example. New York. Chris Cuomo made a lot of mistakes in New York, okay? But they adapted to those mistakes, and they're doing hell of a lot better now than they were several months ago. I guess that's where I'm trying to go with that. Who are we going to next, Sean? Let's go to Rose. Rose, you're next on the Vegas Take. Rose, what's going on?
Hello?
Yeah, hi, Rose. What's on your mind?
Good morning. Well, I just wanted to say that, this whole country is divided, and it just really needs to stop. I mean, there's been a lot of mistakes made, but at the end of the day, we should unite as one. I do not feel that the whole COVID-19 has a lot to do with the economy. I do feel that, the places that are run by Democrats, I wish they would just, take care of their city better than they are right now, and the people that are needing help.
Can I ask you something though?
Wait, can I just say something really quick? There was
Sure.
a guy that was shot, and I bounced around all the stations, and I did not once see the guy that died. Nobody knows his name. Terrell, I think it was Terrell. I can't remember his last name, but he was shot and killed because he's got a Trump sign. He was harassed on the street, and nobody's talking about it. Isn't his life matter like the other guy that died? I mean, I get it. It was wrong, and I feel for that family.
So can I respond to that?
All he's doing is on a
Okay,
corner.
so Rose, I am not familiar with that story. I haven't heard of that story before.
I think it's from Wisconsin.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard the story. By the way, I haven't heard it on right-wing radio. I haven't heard it on Fox News. I haven't heard.
It was on Fox News.
I believe. Okay, I didn't see it. But Rose, let me be clear, and I think anybody should. And Rose, that's fair to bring that up. Any type of violence anywhere, no matter Republican, Democrat, you should be allowed to wear any sign you want. Trump, whatever the case may be, anywhere is horrible and it's wrong, and we should all point that out. Period. 257-5396 is the number to call. I believe Tyler's next. Tyler, what's going on?
Hey, I was just calling to get some clarification based on one of the callers before that was
Sure.
saying about defunding the police that Joe Biden was saying. You were saying that it was redirecting funds.
Within the department, and he actually wants to add funds to the department for training. He wants to allocate certain funds. He does not want to defund the police. And if people don't believe, I'm not talking about you, Tyler, but if people don't believe me, just go look at the comments that Joe Biden has made recently and the comments he made 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah, the only thing that I've ever seen on it was just redirecting funding
Within the department, right?
There was no, there's just no information that says.
Exactly.
I haven't seen any that says that it was within the department, outside the department.
Yeah, he's not. He doesn't want to. The bottom line, Tyler, is he does not want to, defund the police. I don't agree with anybody that does want to defund the police. By the way, keep in mind that there is a difference between defunding the police and disbanding. This Looney Tune commercial that Donald Trump has out there that you probably have seen, a picture of Joe Biden. If you've been the victim of a rape, press 1. If you've been the victim of this, press 2. We'll get back to you in 5 months. It's complete lunacy. It's a complete lie, and it's wrong. 257-5396 is the number to call.
Well, and just one thing, because Rose was talking about Burnell Trammell, who was a 59-year-old man, a black man who was who was killed outside of his store. He was known for having Trump signs. He was a huge Trump supporter. And of course, as a lot of people know, there's been a lot of unrest over in Wisconsin, over in Milwaukee. And so it was part of the protests that were going on. So his life should be honored. I agree with you 110%.
Sure, of course.
And because of these protests and the nonsense that we've seen in Portland, the nonsense that we've seen in Seattle, there are people who have domestic violence situations, who have rape situations, who have burglary situations that the cops literally cannot get to them. So while the commercial may be extreme, let's not act like that can't happen. No, it very well could. Milwaukee, or what's it place?
Okay, so that was the mayor of Seattle, which, by the way, I disagreed with. But the mayor of Seattle does not hold the same views as Joe Biden. And what I don't agree with, is a narrative, and I'm not saying you're saying this narrative, but there are Republicans that are, that just because we had the chop in what took place in Seattle, under Joe Biden, if he's elected, that's going to happen throughout the country. It is not the case. Joe Biden does not agree with what took place in Seattle. Are there a few Democrat idiots in society that would like to see a chop in their city? Perhaps. The Seattle mayor is a moron. That was pure stupidity. I don't think there's any logical, prominent Democrat in the country that thinks that if you call 911, the police shouldn't come. It's absurd. So, it's an extreme.
There are Democrats and there are city council members and there are mayors who are going that direction. And the fear is
very few
that Biden will go that direction as well.
There are very few, and there are also some Republicans that hate black people, too. Do I think all Republicans hate black people?
Mayor of Seattle, Mayor of Portland, Mayor of Oakland, Mayor of Minneapolis.
There are a few. There's no question. But we're talking about Joe Biden now. Okay, these mayors are not going to become the president of the United States, and they don't have the power or would not have the power that Joe Biden will have. Not even close to it. They're only mayors that Joe Biden would as president. That's all I'm saying. I don't agree with those people. I don't agree with the mayor of Seattle. She's an idiot. Yes. I said from day one when they started this chop, I said, what are you doing? And I figured that there would be some unrest, and sadly some people died, and it was dumb. It was stupid. 257-5396. Joe Biden doesn't believe in that, though. It's very important that we bring that up. Let's go to David. David, you're next on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, guys, I just want to say about the defunding the police and Joe Biden. I mean, if you watch Fox News all day and that's where you get your information, that's the one caller that's, he's for defunding the police. They believe that. It works. You hammer that over and over. And you're talking about the mayor of Seattle, the mayor of Portland. Clearly, they didn't do a good job. So, I mean, my opinion, even though those are Democratic cities, I don't think they're going to go further in politics. They'll probably lose. Someone should run against them, a Democrat or Republican. They should probably lose. They don't deserve to get reelected. I think most Democrats agree with that. That's not a good example of good Democratic leadership, the mayor of Seattle.
I agree. I couldn't agree with you more. I think the mayor of Seattle is doing a horrible job as a Democrat. Yep.
So they want to portray that, like, that's the base of the Democratic Party, or all Democrats are, like, rah-rah behind the mayor of Seattle. And it's just not true. I just said, like, no national Democrat, no senator or president, no one's going to support, like, the job that she did
Of
there,
course.
for example.
Of course.
Of course, there's Democrats who obviously abhor what's happening in those cities. The fear is, from the Republican perspective, though, that as Joe Biden continues to go to the progressive left and looking to Bernie Sanders, AOC, and others for his advice and for his narrative, and they're on his team, that he's going to be pushed into that direction. And Joe Biden could help himself a lot if he would stop avoiding the media, do sit-down interviews, but evidently he seems a little too afraid to confront reporters without the benefit of a teleprompter.
I disagree with you. Could he be out and doing more press conferences? Yes, but he just answered questions from reporters the other day. I thought he did a pretty good job in doing so. Is he as sharp as he was 10 years ago? No, but we could go the other route and say when Donald Trump is off script, he says idiotic, ridiculous things. The interview he just did with Axios, Donald Trump just did that, and he admitted that he did not even bring up the Russian Vladimir Putin situation about putting putting money on heads of our troops, and Donald Trump admitted that he didn't even bring it up with Vladimir Putin. I think it goes both ways.
But Biden can't remember what year it is half the time.
That's not true.
No,
that's not true.
He misspeaks all the time. Listen,
Donald Trump misspeaks all the time too. Does that mean they both are senile? No, we're both not doctors. Donald Trump is not a young puppy. Joe Biden is not a young puppy. They weren't as sharp as they were 20 years ago. I'm not a doctor. You're not a doctor. For people out there to make their Republicans, in my personal opinion, to think that they're doctors and to say that old Joe, he's senile, he's this or that, you have zero credibility. I'm not a doctor. You're not a doctor. Now, I agree with you. He misspeaks at times. So does Donald Trump. Has gaffes all the time. They both do because they're old, because this is what happens to people that are in their 70s. I don't knock Donald Trump for that. I knock him for defending the Confederate flag. I knock him for attacking women based on looks. I knock Donald Trump for all those things, for a lack of empathy. I give Joe Biden credit for having empathy, for meeting with the George Floyd family for hours. He and his wife went over there. Donald Trump made a 5-minute phone call. Those are the things that I want to focus on, not because Joe Biden might have misspoken in a press conference. I know Republicans want to do that when it comes to Joe Biden, and that's fine. You can do that if you want to, but all I'm simply saying is, Michelle, if you're going to go that route, you got to do the same thing with Donald Trump. They're both not sharp.
Oh, there are, everybody can misspeak, yes. And I will agree with you on this. I don't care for Biden very much at all. I will say he is a man who has shown a great deal of empathy, which is fantastic. But empathetic people may not necessarily be the best leaders. We see that a lot with Governor Sisolak and the fact that he shows a great deal of empathy. He's afraid of absolutely everything, but he's also not willing to lead.
I agree, but all I'm simply saying is as the president of the United States, you need to show empathy. Okay, I wasn't a George W. Bush fan. I wasn't at all. But the man did have empathy. I remember that moment, and I know you do too.
I do.
9/11, when he had the megaphone out there, days after he said, I'm here, the world hears you, we all hear you, I hear you. Donald Trump never has a moment like that. Never. We need somebody in office, Republican or Democrat, that actually has empathy and cares about people. Donald Trump, to me, doesn't have one empathetic bone in his body. Is that even a word, empathetic? I think I just made up a word.
I believe he does. I just don't believe it's on display very often for people to see in public. There's people who think that you're very rude and not very kind because they see you in this setting and they listen to you and they make assumptions about you. People make assumptions about Donald Trump
too.
I've
never used the term grab them by the P word. I don't go after women based on looks, and I've been emotional and I've cried on the radio before, and I'm not bragging about that. I do it when I feel something inside of me, and I'm talking about Officer Shea, who was shot in the neck, and I was very emotional on the air. Donald Trump can talk about anybody. I've never seen him emotional. I think the man has zero empathy.